All right, 3 little known keys to discovering your life's purpose. And if you nail these down, you will live a more fulfilling life every day. Now, that's a pretty bold claim right there. That's pretty intense. That's pretty bold. What could these possibly be? Well, I want you to think it's bold because this is important and your life matters and your story that you're living matters and your life is important. So many people who I meet, they feel stuck. They feel lost. And it's like they know they're supposed to go somewhere, but they just have no idea. They don't have a roadmap. And so my life mission, ever since really finding myself again after getting home from the war in Afghanistan, was to really help people to develop step-by-step systems to help people figure out whatever it is they're dealing with. So many people want to live a more fulfilling life. So many people want direction. So many people want their life to count. They believe they're here for a purpose and that life is not meaningless. And I believe the same. And one reason I'm qualified to talk to you about any of this is because I've been there. Not just once, I've been there several times in my life. Whether it was from my troubled, screwed up childhood and parents' divorce to my troubled teen years or to my war injury in Afghanistan or after coming home then finding out I lost friends in the war. I mean, I've had a pretty rough run myself just like you have. We've all had these things happen to us. They cause us to doubt. They cause us to feel alone. They cause us to just sometimes feel resentful toward other people who seem to have it figured out. All right, because we want to be happy too. Am I right? And feel free, leave comments. If you have comments, questions you want to leave about finding your life's purpose, post some of your toughest questions here, and I'll answer them live as long as they're asked while I'm on here. All right, but these 3 keys, they're simple, but a lot of people just don't think of them. I don't know if I heard this from somebody or if I put it together after learning from a number of people. I've had several mentors at this point in my life who I've been incredibly fortunate to learn from, world-class people. And Zach says, we do, it hurts not knowing what's next. Dude, I agree. And sometimes God will show you 2 inches when you want to see the next 20 miles. And I always kind of chalk that up to faith. I always say, it's kind of like if God showed me the full next 20 miles, I'd probably screw it up because I'd do it my own way. Or maybe I'd get ahead of myself before I can see the full picture. But here are the 3 things I want to talk to you about. If you are trying to find your life's purpose, look, I'm not God, obviously. Ask my wife. All right? But if you're looking for your life's purpose, there are indicators that we have to go by. We don't have to wander completely lost. There are things we can look at about ourselves and that other people can see in us. When we identify these things I'm about to share with you, you're going to have a lot better time, a lot easier time really starting to hone in on and narrow down why it is you might be here or what you were meant to do. All right? So, first thing, 3 things. The first one, what are you extremely good at? Like, what do you have a ton of knowledge about? In other words, where is it? This is question 1. And even feel free to get out a notepad and write these down as I'm going through these 3. If you have to rewatch this afterwards, it'll be on. So you can rewatch it as many times as you want. But number 1 is, where are you extremely competent? There are a lot of people who, they've been in the workforce for years. They know how to do a particular skill extremely well. Other people, they have a hobby. Maybe they've been working out. Maybe they've been talking to and counseling their friends for years and helping their friends overcome really tough things. Maybe you've been somebody who has helped a lot of people keep their relationship together, and you're not like a therapist or anything like that. No offense to therapists, but those people are extremely insightful, but you don't have to be that to help people. Believe it or not, you are good enough to help a lot of people in a lot of ways. A lot of people doubt that they're good enough, but they already are, and that's something we all deal with. So number 1, what are you highly competent in? What do you have a lot of knowledge about or experience with? You've done it a bunch of times. Again, it could be a work skill, it could be a hobby, it could be just something like, and here's a clue when you're trying to figure that out. What are people always asking you? How do you do that? What's that question? What's that thing people are referring to if they ever ask you, how do you do this? Or how do you always do that? Or how do you do that so well? Or you're always so good at this thing. What is that? Make a list. Write these things down. You might have 1, you might have 10. Make a list though. All right, the second thing is, what do you enjoy a lot? Now, I don't think you have to enjoy something to be successful at it, but it's really important to enjoy what you do or you're just going to hate life. All right, so knowing what you enjoy, like what do you enjoy doing? I mean, if you can't enjoy life, you're doing it wrong. If you hate what you're doing, you need to go do something else. I mean, you're going to get to the end of your life, if you're doing that, you're going to get to the end of your life and just go, what the hell did I do with the whole thing? And I hated every second of it. Or I did that job for 30 years and I hated it. For what? You and I have the choice. So write down the things that bring you happiness. What brings me happiness? I enjoy speaking. I enjoy writing. I enjoy doing Facebook Live videos. All right, look, this Facebook Live thing was like made for me. Thank you, Zuckerberg. All right. Like, I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy helping people figure out their problems, creating step-by-step systems and solutions for whether it's for their business or whether it's for getting past something or creating a roadmap for somebody to get through something they're dealing with. I've not only discovered I'm good at those things, but I also really, really enjoy them. And oddly enough, it actually ties into what I do for a living now, that I've been doing for the past 10 plus years. So, number one, where are you highly competent? What do you have a ton of knowledge or experience with? Write these down. Number two, what do you really, really enjoy? What brings you a ton of happiness and joy? I mean, I created useyourstory.com because I wanted to teach other people, other tragedy survivors, how to use their story and what they've learned, those lessons, so that they can go out and they can live a more meaningful life by helping other people win and fight and win their own battles because they're teaching the lessons they've learned. And then the third piece to this equation, this is huge and a lot of people miss it. People start businesses and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and they tank because they don't ask this third question. And the third question is, who is it valuable to? All right, who does this add value to? Does it add value to a person? Does this skill or this thing or this knowledge or this experience you bring to the table, does it add value to a business? Where does it add value? And I'm going to say this, in the marketplace. The marketplace being when we all go to work, we're in the marketplace. When you go into business, you're in the marketplace. Because you can be really good at something and really enjoy talking about it or doing it, but if nobody wants to pay you for it, then people probably don't find a whole lot of value in that thing. Look, I would love for somebody to pay me an extra $1 million a year to ride my Harley through the Rocky Mountains of the Western US and Western Canada. I would love that, but guess what? I haven't found anyone who's willing to do it yet because I haven't found a way to add value to people's lives as a result of doing that. Now, someday I might come up with it, I don't know. But so first, where are you highly competent? What do you know a lot about or you've done it a lot? Second, what do you enjoy? And third, where does it add value in the marketplace? How does it add value to other people's lives? When I go speak for the military, they bring me in as a resilience trainer. The reason they do that is because they know I'm a guy who's been through hell on earth and they know the stories, suicide bombers and IEDs in Afghanistan and all that crap. But they also see that I've been married for over 10 years, happily. They see I've written books about my experiences. They've seen me talk about the struggles I've dealt with and the solutions I found that helped me overcome a lot of these issues. And that my life is living proof of that. Well, guess what? They have other service members and family members of those people who are dealing with things right now, and they don't know how to overcome them. And the thing is, I don't know everyone's answers for all their problems, but a lot of the solutions I found that helped me pass a lot of my issues also apply to these people and can help them pass theirs. And it can save them money, it can save them heartache, it can save them their marriages, their families, and I mean, in all kinds of ways. And in a military setting, if a guy's family is broken apart, generally he can't be as effective on the job as he could be because his mind is divided. Like when I was in Afghanistan, I never had any reason to believe my wife would ever cheat on me, that she would ever be unfaithful. Not one time did I ever question that. I was able to focus completely on the mission and what we were doing. And sure enough, fortunately for me, it's not always the case, but in my case, I still don't have to worry about that because I know my wife is faithful and I had no doubt about that. So my mind was never divided when I was there. When I share Use Your Story from it's my online mentoring program at useyourstory.com, I get around groups of people who have either been through traumatic experiences and they're at a point where they want to use it to help other people in the same situation to get out of those things and to overcome those same issues. Or I talk to people who maybe are Olympic athletes, or they've had some sort of success and they want to share what they've learned in their life with other people, and they want to be able to make a living doing it, helping people, adding quality and value to people's lives. All right, so that's just another example of how I've personally done it. I have at my website, takebackyourlife.me. The description should be in the link if you're watching this on social media. Go to takebackyourlife.me if you're struggling with your purpose, if you're looking for direction. I have a program on takebackyourlife.me that's called Take Back Your Life. It's an online coaching and resilience program where I share all the things that have worked, not just for me, but for other people, friends of mine who have overcome the most extreme hell on earth that some of you can't begin to imagine. From extreme burn survivors to people with no limbs or legs and got them blown off in Afghanistan and Iraq, to people who were raised, and they were raped and abused and all these things. And they didn't just go through these things, but they bounced back from them. And I consolidate all that stuff into these videos online. So be sure to visit me at takebackyourlife.me. Scroll down to the middle of the page. You'll see the resilience program called Take Back Your Life. And check that out. I want to be of value to you. And you see this, again, doing this video is proof of what I'm talking about. All right? I know that these programs I've created, these videos add value to people's lives. All right? And I know what it's like to struggle and not know why I'm here. After getting blown up in Afghanistan and having my skin scraped off with razor blades of the burned skin by the doctors while I was still awake and conscious, all that hell on earth. I remember laying in a hospital bed at Brooke Army Medical Center on 4 East, that's the ward, and it was about 3 in the morning, and I'm staring at the black ceiling. It's dark and I'm alone. And I'm just thinking to myself, why am I going through all this? And I'll tell you, this is completely off topic, but I'll tell you right now, the thing that got me through was my belief that there was a reason for the suffering I was going through. Even when I couldn't see it, even when all of the evidence pointed in the other direction, it didn't matter. I chose to believe that there was a greater purpose for everything I was going through, and I believed that eventually I would see it, even though I couldn't see it in that moment. And people say things all the time like, well, Brian, I just can't bring myself to believe this, or can't bring myself to believe that, or I don't, whether it's about God, whether it's about life, their situation, maybe a person they know. Look, what you believe is entirely up to you. Belief is never a matter of your ability. It is always a matter of the will. 100% of the time, you and I believe what we do because we choose to believe it. All right? And that's scientifically proven. We know that psychologically. Belief is a complete matter of the will. We'll believe what we do because we choose to believe it. So, let's say here, let's see, I'm looking at some questions here. Julie says, I would take even the hint of an inch to come. How do I find my purpose? Tried and prayed. Nothing comes. Julie, I'm going to say this. Keep praying, keep trying, but don't forsake just stepping out and trying things. All right? There are a lot of people, and I'm not going to quote this out of context, but there's a part in the Bible that says to wait upon the Lord. I understand what that means. But I know that God also made me a person of action that can't sit still very long. And so, yes, there are times we need to be still and to be patient. But you wouldn't believe how many people use that Bible verse as an excuse to just sit around, and then they expect God to drop everything on their lap, and it's not going to happen. God wants you and me to get out there and to add value to people's lives, to help people. The reason we're here is to help each other. I believe that. And to connect with each other and to help the guy or the lady next to us overcome the issues they're facing and truly make a meaningful difference in their lives. So take these to heart, Julie. I would say, what are you good at? Again, where are you highly competent? What do you enjoy? What brings you happiness? And where does it add value to people's lives? I mean, specifically, like identify, this is how it adds value to this particular type of person's life. You narrow those down, and then you look at where they all, like concentric circles, where they all blend together. You'll have like a circle here, and a circle here, and a circle here. First question, second, third. That middle space, where they all overlap, that's called a clue. And it is, without going super spiritual on it, because I like to stay very practical, that is the absolute most practical way I have ever found to practically and literally within just a couple of minutes begin narrowing down this thing and answering the question as to why I'm still here. Zach Maytan says, agreed, a waste of time doing something that doesn't bring you fulfillment. Yeah, and Zach, we all get to that point in life, I think. And I was just talking with my friend Sean Hyman this morning over coffee. We were talking about what I call the mountaintop syndrome. So, when you actually reach for something and you accomplish it, it's great. But after a little while, if you're on top, it's like you're looking for the next big mountain to climb, the thing to tackle, to accomplish. And what do you do once you reach the top? I mean, I know for me, a couple of years back, I sank into a pretty big depression. In fact, because I didn't know what to do from there. In fact, I was listening to a interview with Jerry Seinfeld, famous comedian, last night, and somebody asked him, after back in 97 or 98 when Seinfeld, the TV show, was off the air, it was over with, like, did you ever experience that? And he said, a little bit, but he said how he dealt with it was that he didn't want to stay sort of, and I'm paraphrasing this, up in the clouds as a big, huge star that people couldn't get to. He said, I had to focus on not being a star in my own mind, but to continue being an artist. Because that's how he got to where he is. He's an artist, he's creative, he has to think stuff and come up with stuff, and he has to make people laugh, which is hard sometimes. All right, and so you might be at this place because you've succeeded and you're like, what now? I've been there a couple times in my life, and it's a constant battle, but you'll learn. All right, let's see, what else do we have here? I'm going to cut this off here in a minute, but Alex Jones says, revelation from God will come often when you sleep. There's an interesting thing in the Bible, Alex. That's a great thing. It's in the book of Job somewhere. And basically what it says is, while men slumber in their sleep, I'm trying to remember what it was. While men are asleep in their beds, slumbering, what is it? It is then that God reveals. Oh, what is it? I haven't read it in so long. It's basically that it is then that God gives them their answers or something like that. And it's really interesting that you bring that up, because so often, here's my advice, because so often we'll put out all these things I'm talking about, write down that circle 1, write down circle 2 and circle 3. All right, what you're highly competent in, what you enjoy, and where it adds value to people's lives. As you're getting all that together, you're going to, like, over the next 20 or 30 minutes, you're going to have your brain just on overload, like you're drinking from a fire hose. After you do that, and that's necessary, by the way, but after you do that, sit that thing down and walk away from it, and don't look at it until tomorrow. Look at it tomorrow, come back to it. The funny thing is that so often these answers we're looking for, they don't always come to us when we're looking for them, but as a result of doing all that mental digging, you'll go off and do something else. Maybe you're at work, maybe you're out to eat, you focus on something else, and suddenly it just drops on you. Like out of nowhere, you just realize the answer you've been looking for. And I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me, and people I know that it happens like that. So definitely be careful what you listen to, and God often does reveal things to us in our sleep. And it's funny because our subconscious mind, which is your mind that's active pretty much all the time, but it's very active while you're sleeping because your conscious mind is not active. I don't know what the number was, but I think I heard somebody say one time that the conscious mind is like 1 million or 100 million times more powerful than the conscious mind. And while we sleep, we actually marinate on the thoughts that we put into our heads before we sleep. And so my question to you in that sense about your sleep would be this: what are you thinking about before you go to sleep? Protect your sleep time. And like 5 to 15 minutes before you go to sleep, listen to something that's uplifting. Get whatever you're going through negatively out of your mind. Force it out. And then go to sleep. It's amazing the difference you'll see. John says, I like to speak as well. I believe I have stories that would help people. Awesome. I feel weak in my articulation and eloquence. Any advice? Well, here's my advice. Some of the most polished speakers out there, they might sound really good, but the problem of being overly polished is that nobody relates to you. That's why, this video here is not scripted. I'm not reading a script. I don't have any notes. I don't have a flashcard with some bullet points, anything. I'm just being me. I'm just telling you what I found that I think can help you, and I'm doing it my way. All right? In the famous words of Frank Sinatra. All right? So, John, I would say, don't worry so much about your articulation. That comes with time as you work things out. I've spoken several hundreds of times probably, I don't know if it's in the thousands yet, but over the past decade, I've spoken several hundreds of times. I get better every time I do it, and you will too. The biggest thing, though, is focusing on what's my message, and who wants it, and how does it add value to their life. And just get up and say that. Communicate those things, even if you're not the most polished. People are going to appreciate you because you're speaking to a need that they have. All right? Dawn says, I always enjoy hearing your perspective, Brian. Awesome! Can you tell that to my wife? I'm kidding. I'm very blessed. And that Sean Hyman guy, too. Yeah, Sean is Dawn's brother. And a great guy. And in fact, you can check Sean out at his website is ultimatewealthreport.com. He's the one of the financial editors for Newsmax. Great guy, tons of knowledge. Definitely, he's on my friends list. Go check him out. Alex says we must find the quiet places in life. Yeah, there's a time for that, definitely. So I'm going to wrap this up. I don't want it to go too long because I want you to be able to get through it and rewatch it without having to sit down for a whole half hour, which I don't even know what time we're at right now. But again, to wrap this up, the 3 things that will help you narrow down your life purpose, and if you nail this thing down, you can live a more fulfilling life every day. Because when you know where you're really, really good and knowledgeable and credible, that's the reason finding where you're highly competent or experienced, that's why that's important, because that's where people see your credibility. And no one wants to listen to you talk about something that they don't think you know anything about. All right? So where are you highly competent? What do you enjoy doing? And where does it add value to people's lives? By add value, it means how does it help them get what they want or solve an immediate, urgent, pressing, painful problem they're dealing with right now. All right? Check that out. Write those 3 in circles. I'm serious. Get a piece of paper out. What am I good at? List them out. Look, get your wife, your husband, a friend who knows you well, and say, what am I good at? And just have them tell you. Don't even give them any clues. Just have them tell you. Write all those things down. All right? What makes me happy? What fulfills me? What brings me just a bunch of joy and happiness in life? Write all those things down. And then where can this add value to people's lives in that 3rd circle? And in this 3rd circle, you can put who it can add value to, specific groups of people, and then how it adds value. Again, how does it help them get something they want? You have to know that. And how does it help them solve an immediate, painful, and pressing problem they're dealing with right now? All right, so check that out. Do that. If you want more great videos like this where I can help you, help you just stop drifting through life and feeling aimless, if that's where you are, or maybe depressed, you're looking for purpose, I want to help you live an incredible story. I want your story to count. I want your story to impact other people's stories for generations to come in the same way that I want mine to. So if you want more information like this, just go check me out at takebackyourlife.me. Click on the Take Back Your Life program, and I look forward to seeing you there.